Hello and welcome to Module 7 of Linking Literacy and Assessment. This week in Linking Literacy and Assessment, we'll be talking about the formal assessments of literacy. So up until this point, we've been talking about informal assessments, and those are the ones that you've been giving. You can give them one-on-one. You can make them feel like a game for the child. Sometimes the child doesn't even know that they're being assessed because it's so informal. Um, some some of my students in the past have thought that those tests are formal because they have directions and a script that the teacher is reading. These are still informal, and the difference is that the formal tests of literacy, which you'll be reading in your Gillett text this week, um, those tests are standardized. They have and they're being compared across grade levels or across age levels, or for their specific subject, they're given nationally or even across globally. So that is the difference there. So up until this point, we've been doing informal tests of literacy. Now, this week, we're going to be talking about formal tests of literacy. You will not be administering any formal tests of literacy in this class or to your child. We just need to learn about them because as a teacher, you will be exposed to these for certain. And because the standardized testing industry has really taken a big part of education at this point, so you need to be aware of these tests. So, speaking of that reading in the Gillett text, as you're reading, you'll be wanting to take notes in that assessment chart that we've been doing. That is due again this week in the discussion board that we'll be having. So, this week, let's go ahead and go straight to the assignments. We have a discussion board, and with that, you will be turning in your assessment chart, and go ahead and look at everybody else's assessment chart after you've posted yours and just double check and make sure you have everything on there. This is really going to help you when it comes to the midterm. Your midterm is coming directly from the Gillett text, and a lot of that will be from that assessment chart. So the more you have on there, the more prepared you will be for that midterm. You also have a chapter summary, and basically it's asking you to define several terms in your own words. You do not need to do this essay style or paragraph style. What I'd like you to do is do it dictionary style. So just write the word and then define it. Then skip a line, write the word, and define it. So don't put a lot of extra work into adding language to it to make it be a paper. The word and the definition for each term, that's all I need. Please be sure to define all the terms within that assignment. They're kind of listed in two parts. So look for all the terms, define them, and that's all I need. Now, of course, with that, you will need to use citations because you are using your Gillett text to help you come up with your own words, but the information was not yours to begin with, so you do need citations. Um, Also, if you would like to do an extra point activity this week, I want you to be thinking as you're doing your Gillett text reading, which of these formal assessments that you're reading about this week would apply to the child that you are tutoring. Now, if you were their classroom teacher, would you be able to give these assessments to the child and garner information from that to be able to assess them in your classroom? So as you're reading, check that out. Now, perhaps you're reading those and you're thinking to yourself, none of these apply to my student. Maybe your student is just too young or at an earlier stage of reading. And if that is the case, then go ahead and ask a question in the ongoing tutoring discussion about how you might be able to apply this information to the child that you are tutoring. And give us some information about that child so we'll be able to actually interact and discuss with you about that. And speaking of the ongoing tutoring discussion, I just want to remind you that you do have three kind of big assignments due at the last week of this course in the last module. However, we are working on them all throughout the course. And I just want to remind you to go ahead and check and make sure that you are working on those and it's showing your work so far. So those assignments are the ongoing tutoring discussion. You are to post a certain number of times throughout the course and not just in the last couple of weeks. So check out that rubric and see if you've been following those guidelines. Um, the other assignment that's due at the end is your summative assessment report. You can't really be doing that now, but your assessment-based instruction and your English language learner reports that were already due are going to really help you know how to write that summative assessment report. So check on the feedback for that and check it now. Don't check it at the end of the course when you're getting ready to write that assignment. Check it now because it's going to help you now plan all of your lesson plans for the child you're tutoring and make those be accurate. I do try to give some very, very detailed feedback. You'll find that at the in the rubric. You'll find it in the feedback under My Grades, and also Blackboard has a feature now where I can put comments within the document if you use a certain format, and I can do that as well. So be sure to have to read all of that feedback and incorporate it. These earlier assignments aren't worth a ton, as many points as the ones at the end. And the reason why is those ones at the end, right now you're learning. And at the end, I want you to show that you have taken that knowledge and you have made a nice package. You have taken that feedback and you have incorporated it into this final project, and it shows me that you have learned this information. And that is why those last assignments are worth so much. It's so you can kind of make up some of the points. If you're worried about points from your first assignments, and don't worry about them now. If you can take that feedback and incorporate it into your lessons and help this child, and then show that you did that in your portfolio, in your summative assessment, that's where you're going to be able to kind of catch up there. So try not to worry about those things. And so I've already talked about the portfolio, the summative assessment, and the ongoing tutoring discussion that you're to be working on throughout the course. We've talked about the discussion board, and with that you'll attach your assessment chart. You're going to be doing a chapter summary, but please don't spend a lot of time turning this into a paper. I just want the definition and the term together in your own words. Yes, use citations. And then, of course, you do have that extra point activity from your Gaelic reading. And that is it for this week. Thank you, or this module. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you taking the time to watch these videos and learn more about these assignments that are due in this course. And I look forward to discussing with you in the discussion board about formal assessments of literacy.